Hello Internet and welcome back to Rail Survival, a series where I'm gonna fix my the audio annoyances of last time. And fixing that involves silencing you. Stop it. Okay, that should be a little bit better. We should still have, I imagine we have tons of ice. Oh yeah. In fact, because everything's connected, it's probably good to turn this off because we could have dangerous amounts of ice. How much iron do we have? We have 2.7k there. And the iron drill is off. I can't remember. Do I have these running right now? Can't remember. I'm gonna have that on just for a bit. That'll get us some iron coming in. I don't know if it's necessary, but it's all the way over there, so it won't annoy us. What does annoy us is the fact that this thing doesn't really work. Yeah. So I poked around a bit. I tried some different designs of the truck, different designs of the track, as you can see here with this big old loop. This doesn't work. Nothing I tried worked. I actually went back to, so I have a long-standing sort of creative testing world that I use for just testing any little ideas. You've probably seen it on the channel several times before, even if I didn't call out that's where we were. That world, I had a version of this whole system, like the whole train system, built before I started the series to test and make sure this was a viable option, make sure it all worked. I thought I had a system like this where it used the fixed angles in that world, but it turns out I don't. I tried it in that world. The bogey design in that was actually a little different than here, and still didn't work even in that. So I'm writing this idea off as a no-go. I think I've got a better solution anyway that should let us kind of, well, it should make everything work a little bit. It'll all work. That's the important part. So, I guess step A is get rid of this guy because it can't stay. It will be redesigned. It is a bit of a shame because I could reuse this bogey. You know what? Let's do it. The whole mounting thing has to be redone for how I'm going to do it, but if nothing else, it'll be entertaining to try and realign this because I also need to realign the entire track. Which I guess we'll start from here doing. Well, let's get the track we're eventually going to use. Which means modifying these guys a bit. So, the solution I've come up with is, instead of having multiple rows with track that kind of goes back and forth, I'm just going to have one track straight down the middle. I'll have these two rows, and it'll just be a very long, thin greenhouse. So we can grow all the stuff, and then I may set it up something like every, 20 minutes or whatever I can set a timer block to. The thing will just automatically go along, and I guess no, I need it to, there's no way to automatically plant, at least without a mod I'm not using. So I'll probably have it manually launched, but I'll have it so I press a button, that starts going along, gathers all the seeds, comes back, drops them off, and then I can go a-planting. And to make that one track work, I am going to set it up just kind of in the middle of these two rows and move... Ow. Yeah, that's a bit of a pain. I kind of like the idea of the cargo container being in the middle. But, well, I forgot that this is where it is partially because it's where stuff comes in. I've got a block under there for that. Okay, I didn't quite think this through, but I may be allowed to get away with it. Is that still... Yep. Cool. So even though this block was fully disconnected from this grid, it's now reconnected thanks to the power of static grids. So yeah, I thought like 2 more seconds. I was like, you know what? I could leave this here and have to put like a plate over it. Or I could just move this whole line 2 blocks further over. And all that means is I just have slightly more pipe. And it should, again, all reconnect because static grids. I'm building these up while the other thing's connected, partially so I still have easy access to the inventory. Because now, once I dump some stuff, now I can quickly, in fact, I can just grind out these guys. That one just in case. And I have enough to reconnect everything. Now, will you connect? It all says green. Do our cargo check. Yep. Awesome. So now I just replace these guys. That means not only are both sides now parallel, which is nice, but everything lines up such that it makes sense to have my rail down the middle. Which, speaking of, slap this guy down. And now, where are you guys? So now, yep, there's room. I just do this. Weld them up, just, you know, just so it's done and I can feel good about it. It does always make me a little itchy when large stretches of thing that support other things aren't welded. I say ignoring all of that. So now I get more steel and begin my scheme. So to get this from here over here, it's, you know, it's going to be too tight for curves. We've determined that. I am going to build a little piston rig that should hopefully let me line everything up correctly. And I think, yeah. There's one of these with a convenient end stop, so use that just in case. And I guess I could have put the, well, no. I could have put this one block further and then it would at the lowest level line up here. But I can get it even better because I have a little bit of wiggle. Because thanks to the hinge head, or piston head, these aren't quite on the same block alignment. Get this over to the far track. drive our little rig onto it, we should be able to pull it back over and drop it off where it needs to go. Nope. I always do that. Okay, confirm the velocity is 0. Then I can exit. Oh, and that. Wow. I don't think I could have gotten more perfect if I tried. Now, hopefully this guy, yep, still has power. I do want to adjust. Yeah, the wheels are all different than they used to be. The whole thing, it's kind of even. It's bigger than it probably needs to be, but I don't really care. It's what it is. I do, however, want to power the wheels down. And I think I ended up doing, because left and right doesn't strictly, well, it never matters, but especially here, I believe, I can't remember which is which, but all the left wheels are like either top or side, and the right are the opposite. So I think... Okay, these are the top wheels, because I also experimented... Well, I didn't experiment with steering. I used steering on the wheels to fix it when I got it stuck around corners. So I don't need steering. Power can be like 10. Can probably be even less than that. And speed limit can be 10. Even that's probably too much. I also remembered I have the easy block renaming mod, so I'll just quickly change all these. Which I guess I've named the thing the farm gantry, which makes sense. So max speed 2 kilometers an hour. Strength 4. Set strength 10. Strength is suspension strength. It doesn't matter. Power. Let's put it 4%. Yeah, that feels like a good automatic machine speed. Let's drive this on here. Oh.
Energy low.
Nuts. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's drive this off of here. And then rebuild it because I just blocked the wheels with the piston. This should work. Get it aligned over here. Probably nowhere near as great as I did it the first time. Actually, it might be ever so slightly better. Convenient. Now on to the thing we go.
Energy low.
And move it over here. So I thought about using this method to like do the, basically get rid of and replace the corner turning need. Because of course if I just have it go to the end and then push over, that would work just as well. But I realized there's probably an easier solution, and that's just to not have it do a corner at all. Realistically, like, the solar thing with the farm up there for the algae, that does all I need. I don't actually need any of this stuff. It's sort of just so I could say I've done it. So in reality, I don't need this thing to be super optimal or super effective. I just kind of want it to exist. Alright. Now that that is on the main track, I can clear everything else out, and I think I'll go ahead and design that first, just because that seems more fun. The building extension is literally just going to be more rows. Also, I should apologize for any differences in my voice today. I have a little bit of a cold going, and you know, the show must go on, but I don't really have a nose through which to resonate sound at the moment. So, yeah, you're getting what you're getting, and I'm gonna try and edit out any coughing I do. You know, I did just think of something. So when this is parked, if it's parked at this far end down here, I need to be able to plant stuff, which means I need access to the crop plots. That'll probably be good. Yeah. So if that guy's there, I mean, I can access this plot, but it looks a little awkward. Maybe what I do instead, maybe I use pistons. Because then I have it sort of when it docks, it pulls the pistons up, and then I have room to walk underneath it. In fact, let's build the docking first. Maybe what I'll do is widen this out just to give us a little bit more parking room for this thing. So that is where it stops. That will connect. Nope. That's fine. Because I can extend it a bit and it'll just sort of bump in with the connector. There we go. Just gonna... No need to worry about magnetism. Okay. Yeah, so if that's where it stops, I have these two rows. We'll shift all of this stuff over to make that make sense.
Inventory full.
And then I can have some room to move around here at this end. Make it so that the hoppers move out of the way. I could do it with hinges too, but I don't think... I think pistons are going to be my better bet for what I have envisioned.
Low health.
Ow. So I'm reworking this a bit because I had an idea, partially just to deal with well, how I'm going to glass this in, and partially because I'm getting hurt rather badly by that storm. Oh, crud. Refill stations don't heal you, though, do they? Nope. Okay, never mind. I may still do my plan. In fact. Whoops.
Inventory full.
Need to move that spider meat. I'm gonna change my plan a little bit. And have my cargo access in this little tunnel, where I will then have 2 doors so that I can make sure this stays as sort of a pressurized space, because you need that to grow plants. And then all that will work with how I'm envisioning doing the glass. And I can just put a panel there and on the outside to cover up those bits and that bit. Anyway, back to this. So with my pipes going there, this is going to get a little cozier to the rail than I would necessarily like, but it should be okay. Actually, I don't have to get it that cozy to the rail. I just run it behind the antenna. Like so. Can run this up. And I might as well. I can keep going all the way up here. I could even go one higher if I need to. Alright. Let's test our piston. So with a piston there, it's 1 off from the center line. Let's see how the height works. So you can kind of see what I'm thinking here. So I'll have a collector there. I'll have a second one over here to get this row, and then I'll duplicate it on the other side. How far down does that go? Okay. It needs to go down 1 more block piston-wise to be down enough to do the harvesting. That's good. Truth be told, I like it down here a little better, I think, because it's a little bit more in line with the wheels. So, with that there, I could just do 1 piston to 2 collectors. But I kind of like the idea of each collector being on a separate piston, just because I think that'll look more reasonable, more like it's supported. Which means there and there, that should work. Yeah, so that one will be dead center. That one will be slightly off, but it's center enough that it'll still collect. Let's just verify that the height is correct.
Meteor storm inbound.
Yeah, that looks better. It's like 1 small block off, which I believe was within the range to collect. It'll all be a little bit better once this is balanced. And then when I reverse those pistons, hello, meteors. When I reverse these, There's plenty of room to walk around underneath it. Alright. Well, this is looking good. Let's get what I can welded here. Alright. That looks like it's sitting even. All the heights are, well, all the things are good right now. Let's see. First, we'll rename these pistons. Set them in a group. Collectors should all just kind of be ready to do their thing. Now, this is not how I plan to be doing this long term, but for testing for now, I have movement control. I can extend those down. They'll just kind of groove along. That seems pretty good. Now, I am ever so slightly tempted to get this so it's moved over one by essentially... I'd have to basically redo this entire frame, which doing that in situ is going to be a real pain in the tuchus. So I don't think I'm going to do it, but note for posterity, I would like to. Because it is a little annoying having that be dead center and that not. Okay.
Energy low.
Let's extend out the building, get all of my plots in, and then I can set this up. My goal is to have this be, as I've said, one button automated. So we'll see if we can't set that up, but first I need somewhere for it to go. Oh boy. I may have started building more than I should here. So each of these rows has 14 plot positions. So that is 28 for 56. 56 farm plots in here. The likelihood that I'm going to run this farm more than once is very low. Yeah. In fact, now I'm kind of tempted. Let's go ahead and get the track laid out. Because maybe I have some gaps in here. Because at the very least, I need to make sure that the sorter or the thingies will reach the end here correctly. The collectors will align with this last row. I may have to do what I did at the other end and give it a little more gap. Though, when it's running out to farm stuff, I don't care that it stops over top of the end of the farms. That's fine. Kind of just so long as it gets to them, it should work out. We'll write it up here. Oh. Because I hooked it up to the base, I have to fix that. Turn that to auto. And off we go. You could probably move faster than this, but I don't know. I'm more going for vibes with this whole thing than actual utility. Okay. So that's about the other end, and oh yeah. That'll easily cover those, which means I might as well put parts all the way out here. I mean, realistically, I might as well just fill all these in. Gonna be a lot of welding. Because at the very least, I can have each row be one type of food. And then I just kind of build it up. And it's not going to be incredible, but it should work at least. I do have my irrigation thingies here, which I can't remember. These have, yeah. So with 2 of these, I can produce 1,200 liters a minute. I don't know how much water plants need. Guess we'll find out. We may end up needing more of these guys to make that work, which I should be able to easily do by changing out this block for a T piece and just sticking 2 more of these guys on top of the ones that are here. Out of curiosity, what do I need for a better welder? So I can make a tier 2 welder right now. Oh, I accidentally tried to make a tier 3. Luckily I can't. I've not found any platinum in a signal, have I? No. Does not look it, which makes sense. Also, how much iron do I have? Oh, none. Wow. Huh. Good thing I turned on the iron drill. So apparently I've overtaxed myself with building all this. Well, I can at least have a slightly better welder. Just drop that in there. Had to turn the sorter off, so we turn that back on. And it will attempt to keep building stuff. I may have to go mining again. Yeah. You know, this one guy is just kind of going. Maybe I need more than one of these. Realistically, I mean, I do, given how slow it is versus how much iron I keep using. I think the other ones I may be able to get away with one, but even then it's iffier. I wonder if I can just set a few over here. In fact, I'm half tempted to... I'm half tempted to use voxel hands and just reset this voxel. Just have that on the surface. Let's hopefully produce the last little bit of stuff I need. Looks like it's just construction components. Clear up my build planner and then maybe I see how long it'll take me to build a second drill. Now I think my best move is probably just going to be to branch out this guy, which is going to... Hopefully everything reconnects when I do this. Okay. Got a branch. That's still pumping. Now how... I believe there is a radius limit to these guys. I don't think it tells me on here, though. Is there a tip on here? No. Okay. I don't know how long it is. I also don't know how large this ore deposit is. That's real quick. Okay. So, drills will lose efficiency when they are near each other. Any drills that are mining the same ore type within 50 meters of another will greatly impact performance. Ugh. Okay. Now, how far is a meter again? Okay. So, that signal, the truck it looks like, is 209-ish meters away. So if I go until 259 meters, that's how far 50 meters is. So, like here-ish? That's pretty darn far. Like, it's to the point I'm no longer even detecting the iron. Well, let's just try it. We'll see. It said that the efficiency drops off as you go, so maybe it won't be, you know, as good as if they were 50 meters apart, but maybe at the very least they will be better than the one alone. Okay. So that's that up. Doesn't say what it's on. Stone. I mean, it does do a lot of stone, and stone does give me iron. Nah.
Inventory full.
I don't think it's worth it. I may have to, go set up an actual iron location, maybe at the, secondary iron mine. Well, on the bright side, hopefully this gave us some time to produce some of the other stuff we need. So I remembered why the drill was turned off. It's because it makes the bed into one of those weird, like, massagey beds you find in cheap hotels. We're gonna ignore that. I've said several times I believe I have a way to fix that, which would be to make the, put that drill on a subgrid. But I've not done it, so I'm not gonna do it. I am tempted, though. These will go a little quicker. I've been doing them. I'm tempted to go ahead and get the automation part of this going. Because then at the very least it gives me time for it to bulk produce stuff. I think what I probably want to do is get some of these welded first. So the issue with the sorter system, if we go to this, and I think it's no. Is it in custom data? No. Oh, I think I have to change it to text, which it doesn't like doing. Fine then. Turn off the sorter. Change to text. Yeah. So, I suppose I should adjust how many things I'm producing. Let's do way more glass, because I'm going to need that. Way more construction components. interior plate way more. Tubes are good, motors are good. Yeah, I feel confident in that. Now we turn the programmable block back on. It'll queue up all that stuff, which will take decades and decades. But hopefully that gives me enough stuff. Okay. Automation. So the gist of what I want this to do, and we might as well write it back and do all this from the other end. So there are 4 sort of stages, maybe less than 4. There is a number of stages this thing needs to do. So at rest, it'll be docked with that connector up to the thingy. We won't do that yet because I'm going to want to access things, but so it'll be docked up there. When I press the button, I want it to undock here, probably begin moving forward first, and then after a second, lower the thingies. So it'll start moving, lower the thingies, crawl along. Then when it gets to the far end, I want it to stop and reverse. It could probably raise the thingies when it reverses. Come back here, and then when this is in range, connect up and stop at this end. So I think I should be able to do that. I'm going to want all sorts of computey blocks, but I think I should be able to do that relatively easy. Even with just some timers and stuff. So first off, I'm going to want an event controller that watches this connector. Because that connector is going to be, that's how I'm going to launch everything, is by disconnecting. In fact, I could disconnect with this connector, and that'll control it. So with the event controller, I should be able to turn on the wheels, and I can have the wheels set up so that they are sort of ready to move and then not moving. I will want a second event controller to handle the ending sequence of things. So then I'm going to want a timer block. In fact, I may just have the event controller trigger the timer block, because the timer block gives me more slots in order to do things, I believe. Right? Yeah. Because event controller just has 2, a timer block has a whole, 10 slots. I'm just going to give myself 4 of these, and if I don't need some, then I get rid of them, or don't. Okay. So. Event controller engage. This is going to watch the connector, watching the small connector, and when disconnected, which is slot 2, I want it to activate timer block, and I want it to just trigger now. Timer block 1, I set it up to turn on all of my driving wheels. I'm gonna have to set these wheels up, and that's a thing. So it'll turn on the wheels, which starts the whole craft moving. Then I want timer block 2 I want it to start. It will be the thing that drops the pistons? Maybe not. Maybe I extend my pistons on this as well. Okay, so when that disconnects, it will start all the wheels moving and drop the pistons. I figure if my control for all this is right here in the middle, then I won't risk being crushed when those depart. Maybe I have a little podium right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the wheels up now. And I don't know if this is easier or harder or unchanged by the fact that I've used all the same wheel side. So I'm going to be using propulsion override. In fact, well, no, this should work. So what is positive propulsion override here? Okay. Positive, so negative moves it out, positive moves it forward. And funnily enough, I could probably control this whole thing with just one wheel. I don't think I will. Now, okay, so on that side, positive was backwards. On this side, positive is forward. Okay, that's what I thought. Well. Actually, I just realized I can do even better than what I was doing. So the wheels will stay on, but each wheel, yeah, each wheel I can independently set my overrides. So, yeah. So this set propulsion, I need to name things because I need to know which side each of these guys are on. So, I've named the ones on the left from where I am now negative, because negative moves them away from me. The other ones are positive, because positive moves them away from me. The whole orientation of the vehicle is weird, because of where I've put everything, but this should work. If this is a neg, so when it triggers, I want this to go to negative 100. This one to go to negative 100. This one to go to 100. And this one 100. So now when it triggers, the wheels are automatically set to move away. And the pistons will begin coming down. Now, for the next thing, I think I want a sensor. Are sensors part of... No, they're separate guys. So we'll slap a sensor here. This sensor will detect this back wall and should allow me to then trigger my sort of stopping. Just go ahead and visualize the field range of the sensor, because I need to narrow it. That might be enough. We can always adjust that later. So I don't want it to detect players. I do want stations. So that should, because this is a static grid, it's a station, it should detect it. So this guy, it's the same as the event controller. When it detects, I want it to trigger timer block 2. Timer block 2 is going to be, I think it's just gonna stop these guys. So it'll reset propulsion override on all of them. And I think it will start timer 3. My thinking here is to avoid sort of clang. If I turn off propulsion, the wheels will stop moving and come to a stop. Timer block 3, I can set, we'll set it on like a 3-second delay. It will do the reversing and bring everything back over here, but that 3 seconds of stopping should hopefully keep it from lurching quite so bad. Okay, what am I doing? So now I need to do the opposite. So because this is a negative, I want it to go to 100. This guy's a negative, so positive 100. These guys get negative 100. And we'll retract our pistons with this as well. Alright. Now I'm going to change the name of this timer because it's going to work a little differently. In fact, I should probably rename all these.
Meteor storm inbound.
And then just reset them in places. So I have the start timer block, which starts us moving. Then the slow timer block, which is triggered via our sensor. It leads into reverse, which reverses everything. Then park will set, reset our propulsion overrides, which pulls everything back to 0. And we'll switch we'll just lock on the connector. This timer block I'm going to run with event controller park, which will also watch the connector, but it'll watch its ready to lock state. And trigger that parking timer. So the gist of what happens, when I disconnect the connector, event controller engages. It runs timer block start, which gets everything moving down the line. Once it reaches the other end, which is determined by the sensor, it slows for 3 seconds, then reverses the wheels, moving it back to where it starts. When it eventually gets back here and the connector is within range, it will lock again, and then wait for me to unlock it. Though I should put in a little safety here, because if this event controller is on from the get-go, it might trigger as soon as we unlock and break everything. So, trigger reverse, I want to turn on park, and then timer park, I want to turn off park event controller. These names are getting a little confusing. But that should just mean that this only is on when it's coming back, which should work. So okay. Let's lock this down, and then hopefully, if I've done everything right, once I unlock this, it'll just go. Oh, yep. Extenders are going. I may need to speed them up because they don't quite get down quick enough. I did also speed up the wheels, so they're at 3 kilometers an hour. Maybe I bring them back to 2. But yeah, it's coming along. Now, will the sensor be good? Oh, yeah, so it slowed to a stop in the perfect spot. And off it goes back. Oh, this is working perfectly. Oh, it's almost like I know what I'm doing for once. Okay, now when it gets close enough. Okay, not perfect, but it locked. And I think the wheels stopped moving, which they're supposed to do. Okay, I would call that a success. Now, yep, and the timers are off as they're supposed to be. Let's turn that off. And last thing, maybe second last thing. Ah, dang. Yeah, nah, I like that in there. I was afraid. I feel like this angled button is perfect for this, but I wasn't sure if there'd be room. Oh, and actually. Yes. But not like that. Yeah. Symmetry. So if I end this button, let's name this connect or something, and then double check that my vent controllers aren't broken. Nope. I am glad they fixed names breaking things. That seems to be much better now. Alright. So, farm gantry, unlock with this button. Now, off it goes. And as it does its thing, I think I'm going to do my outro. I was hoping to have this fully done today, but the building takes a long time. So I'm probably going to get everything welded up and get the actual glass enclosure going, get some plants down in between episodes. But that'll happen then. And then next time, well, we'll come back and, I don't know, do something else fun. Maybe we start on welding? We should probably start on welding the track. Welding the track's not going to be fun. Speaking of welding. But hey, all that's for the future. For now, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out the other stuff I've done, and until next week, bye-bye.